Every once in a while, there's a sale, and you got to take advantage of it. Now, I'm not somebody that doesn't have a few watercraft, but I decided to try something a little different, a new kind of watercraft. So let's get it out of the box. Oh! Now pops a pump. So what we're looking at is something that's got a pump in it. A motor mount. Another motor mount. Well, those are motor mount mounts. This is the motor mount. And so outside in the back here, we can look a little bit at the bag. It's, what do you call this stuff? It's like nylon rubberized. How about calling it vinyl? I guess it's heavy vinyl. And with that said, it has some items in it. Getting everything out of the inside here first. Got some straps and some mounts. So the bag is fairly well made, although grabbing that handle like I just was, I don't know how long that's going to last. And if we get into the bag, and again, it's well thought out. They've got these side straps to help support whatever you put in it. And there we are, looking at the internal components. And there's a paddle in there. And there's the product. Also, it straps. Interesting. This is called the Bote Aero Rover. So what did I tell you? It looks like it's been in this package a while. When you leave something like this in a package, it's made of vinyl, for too long, you can have problems. I hope I don't have any problems. I'm going to really have to leave this blown up for a day or two and check it out and make sure there are no problems. Just using the hand pump, about 5 minutes into it, I've inflated the bottom chamber. And I'm looking at the nice little gauge they got here. And the gauge isn't even into the blue yet. So I got to inflate this to 11 pounds PSI. And so I'm not into the blue yet, but this guy is starting to pack it in. So when you're using the hand pump, which is really easy, don't let people tell you it's not. But remember, it's double action. Use the double action when you're just filling it with air. When you get it so there's pressure in it, go to the single action. See, there's a switch right here that you can just switch it over. It's way easier to pump here. So I'm all the way up to 10 almost now doing this. But if I had it on double action, it would have been a lot harder. So that pops right out. You put the cap back on. And there's a second one up here. They tell you to put in the motor mounts. How hard was that? There's basically a clip you pull out Then you pull this second clip out. Now, the motor mount slides. The motor mount slides right in. It sits right. And then from there, you put the clip right back in. Push it. It comes out. Now put the second clip on. You're all set. There's your motor mount. So with that on there, I can now drop on the actual motor here. Purportedly, this thing can handle up to a 15 horsepower motor. You can reconfigure this however you want. These mounts go in the back too, so you can put this in the back or in the front, depending on what's what. I've got a cooler that I'm going to put in here to sit on. You could use a kayak seat if you wanted to. You could use a bucket. They actually advertise this thing with a bucket, but it's got some lashings so that you can get your cooler mounted down. So it seems to be a nice little piece. It's going to have some applications. The issue with the Bote Rover is that it is purportedly portable, but it's very heavy. I got these wheels that I'm going to use to move the Bote Rover. If you have wheels, it's portable. Wheels, I would highly recommend wheels. This is heavy. And that's good, right? I mean, you don't want it to be light. You want it to be heavy. But at the same time, you want it to be portable. So it is sold as being portable. Now, for what it's worth, it's not as portable as you would think for something that is sold as portable. So here we have the fully set up Bote Aero Rover. And you can see I've configured this thing so that you can fish two guys out of it and basically use it as sort of a drift boat, right? So I can take this thing after trout with a buddy up front casting and then a guy in the back paddling. And there's some good skinny water around here that we're going to be able to get out on and utilize this for the best of its abilities. But I've also currently, you can see I've got it set up with the bass rigs on here, so I can use this like a kayak if I want. Now I've got a few kayaks, so it's going to be like the decision of the day. What do I want to bring? But I'll tell you, this thing inflates pretty quick. I mean, I was able to get this thing all done in about 15 minutes the first time, and I'll be able to do it faster after that. And I'm using on it, you can see for power, what you call a power pedal. So I got the Ryobi, and if I hit the button right, so if I'm going to use this with an electric motor or a gas motor, I got to register it in the state of Massachusetts. And this leads me to like some questions you have to ask yourself if you're going out in one of these with a power motor on it. If this goes out as a power motor, you know, of course I got to bring my life vest. But remember that if it's a boat and you're under power, there's different rules. Some states require that you have a throwable life preserver, so you're going to have to bring a throwable with you. You know, you got to have a whistle. You got to have some kind of a noise-making device if it's a power boat. So remember your state's rules so you don't get jammed up. I got a whistle in there. I got to throw on this. But I can, if I want, if I'm going out by myself, put this where I've got the kayak seat to make it, you know, just me and the kayak, and then I can kind of use this front deck all for myself. But I feel like this has got potential to be a good two-person drift boat on something like the Housatonic River. or Maiden Voyage. I'm going to take it out on the pond here. It's April 5th. We're going to go out and do some vertical jigging, maybe some pitching jigs or something like that, but probably vertical jigging, and see if we can pull any bass out of here. I'm going to move over to North Pond. We're going to talk a little bit about the Hampden and Hampshire Canal, and the Bote Aero Rover is going to get its tryouts. Okay, I just got on the boat for the first time, and I'm going to tell you, I walked around right here, and so I stepped. This is a stable vessel. It's not very big, but I'll tell you, this is very, very stable. Shockingly stable. So now, get my paddles squared away. And I'm just going to take her down into the North Pond and do a little vertical jigging. Paddle's nice. Nicer than I thought it would. You can definitely fish two guys on this. If I put another seat up front, you can definitely fish somebody off the front. And like I was saying, this is an ideal little duck boat or a little like flats boat almost. So like guy back where I am is paddling or using the motor if you got a motor, and the guy up front is fly fishing. So it seems to have a lot of applications. I'm really surprised at how well this is paddling. This is Massachusetts. Most states will make you register this thing. I should, if I use a motor, register it. Now, of course, I got an electric motor, and I'll tell you, based on the buoyancy of this thing, I'll be easily able to put an electric motor on this with a full-size battery and have no problem at all. I can tell just by how it's sitting, this thing is really solid. And beyond that, you can use a gas motor on this. Now if I do that, either of those, if I put an electric motor on it or I use a gas motor, I'm going to have to register it, which is a pain. We shall see. This is the route of the old Hampden and Hampshire Canal. And it came down from Northampton, bypassing the falls on the Connecticut River. Ooh, a lot of panfish. I'm looking at a lot of pumpkin seeds swimming around here at the north end of the lake, doing what fish do on the north end of the lake. A regular school of them. Nice. So we move over here into North Pond. You see the young people with a lot of time on their hands are in here with their spray paint, having some fun. That's good. Under the street rather than on the street, right? So I'm going with the jerk bait here. Got the jerk. Key with the jerk is to slow it down in this kind of water. Oh. Look at that, he almost pulled it out of my hand. A little aggressive. Jerk bait. Jerk bait. Little snaggeroo, little largemouth on the jerk. Healthy looking little sucker. And when they're hitting the jerk, there's usually more than one. That's one thing you can say about the jerk bait. I basically twitched it 3 times. It was sitting still. When I set, he hit. It's a surprise.
Now, that guy hit a jerkbait. That guy hit a jerkbait. There's going to be other guys on jerkbaits. So, anyways, once upon a time, right around the corner, the Hampden and Hampshire Canal, which bypassed the falls of the Connecticut River and the shallows and rapids in Windsor, right, came from all the way up in Northampton, down through Southampton and Westfield, through Southwick, and of course it used the Congamond Lakes all the way down to the South Pond, and then from there
it went all the way down, paralleling the Connecticut River to New Haven. Now this is quite an engineering feat when you consider the number of locks that had to be created to deal with the topography.
And it was originally built for commercial purposes. There was a lot of trade going up and down the river, and it seemed like a great idea, right? When they built it, the railroad had already come to Massachusetts, and a lot of people looked at the railroad as maybe a fad. Canal traffic, right? Canal boats, the use of water to transport goods was thousands of years old. Think about the Egyptians on the Nile. So it didn't seem like it was going anywhere. But within a very short time, the railroad was carrying the majority of the product from up in Northampton and above. And that railroad came just to the west of the line of the canal. The railroad today is a bike path. And there was, of course, another one on the Connecticut River or along the Connecticut River itself. The result being, the canal went out of business. It wasn't making money. It was used for pleasure. People took canal boat trips. There's all kinds of great images of people taking their canal boat trips. And, of course, through Congamond Lakes, which really put Congamond Lakes on the map. I mean, people discovered the recreational potential of Congamond Lakes because of the canals, or the canal. I gotta say, it performed like I expected it would perform, which I like. Well, talents, there's the talents. Yeah, see, it holds the boat right up against the shoreline. That's nice. I think he paid $6,000 to hold this boat up against the shore. Nice, right? If only I had talents. So, leaving it inflated, that's what I'm going to do for a while. The boat is back in the truck and ready to head out. And we'll see. You could have a lot of fun at boat launches. It can be a lot of fun to watch. Especially at this time of year when you don't get in the water.